My guest today is someone who spent his entire career figuring out why we fall in love with characters we've never met. He is a writer, a creative executive, and also a Trekkie, by the way. And he went from interning on Oscar-winning film sets in Boston to 4 years at Bento Box Entertainment, one of the most influential adult animation studios working today, where he helped shepherd Bob's Burgers, Krapopolis, The Great North, and a little YouTube pilot that you might have known that grew into Amazon's biggest animated debut ever, Hazbin Hotel. And now he's at the frontier of one of the most talked about, most argued about experience possibly in entertainment, Fable Showrunner. It is the AI native storytelling platform some are calling the Netflix of AI. He's also the creative executive development and current series, and he's promised in his own words to be a positive in a sea unknown. So Alex Ellenbogen, welcome to the show.
Woo, great. You found my Oscar interning. That was deep LinkedIn research. Wow.
Oh, was it?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I try to do my best to be Nardwuar in some ways. Always,
Oh
yeah.
my God, I love it. Yes, yes. The Manchester by the Sea days.
Yeah,
That was a
actually,
crazy time.
you it's so interesting for creatives to explore different chapters in our lives. Like I feel like I don't even know what chapter this is for you, but it's clearly a new one that we're ushering
Yeah.
into this new era
Yeah.
with AI. But maybe we can take a step back now that we just kind of brought that up. For people who may not know, you were, working on Manchester by the Sea. And for myself as an actor, I always find it interesting working with different productions and directors and how they work. And I'm just curious for you, like, what was like some of the most interesting takeaways of being on set, seeing a director work, or maybe an actor's process that really made an impression on you when you were there?
Oof. I'm actually so I was in the office as an intern,
Hmm.
but that truly was sort of like the jumping off point of like why I'm behind a desk right now. Like honestly, because I'm not a set boy. I'm not a set junkie. I couldn't do it. But I realized like, and thank God, honestly, my first internship, I was like an office PA is essentially what it is. I was like,
Hmm.
I love this side of the job. But speaking of like the director artist experience, they all go through the office of these productions. Like any production, a director, like that's their base camp, that's like where they do pre-pro, they set up everything.
Hmm.
Actors will come in for whatever reasons on these like off skeleton offices set up in whatever city that a project's being shot in, which I think is the coolest thing. So for me, I got a lot of like the executive conversations. Like an executive would like from LA would fly to, Salem, Massachusetts in Mass, where the Manchester by the Sea, for example. And like they would meet Kenny Lagerman, who's the director of Manchester by the Sea, and they would have their first conversation. And I'd be like over there as a PA being like, okay, so that's cool. I like that. That's what I want. Um, and so yeah, it was that was awesome. Such a cool first job. And it really put me on a trajectory of being like an exec, essentially.
Very cool. I mean, yeah, it's so interesting to kind of see, just witnessing, just be an observer of all those things, and really like there's so many roles involved in a production. And like you said, like being on set or just doing it, just being in the office itself, like you need to have a lot of endurance for the entire projects because it's like it can be grueling and intense. Like a 12-hour day can be a very normal way of routine life in that kind of work life space. So I
Mm-hmm.
think if anything, it helps you kind of strengthen yourself, kind of get a little bit more, you know,
It prepped me for a startup, I'll tell
perseverance.
you that. It's the same 12-hour day, but now we're on a different world. But yes,
Yeah. Very cool. So,
100%.
but let's say so from that chapter then to the one afterwards, which is more about Bento Box, and I know we're gonna get really into writing and animations and our love for both of that stuff. Uh, I love to hear, you know, us being having that background of animators and studying that. What was that like for you? Because I I every single person that I went to school with, they were like their own distinct characters. Like
Yeah.
everyone has their own unique story, IP, personalities, and when you see like their final thesis project, it's like so distinctly them. You have such a
Mm.
deep camaraderie with them. You might end up sleeping there. Someone might bring a microwave into the to the campus because you're sleeping over working on projects. I'm just curious, what was those early scenes and stuff like for you? And then maybe later on with Bento, what were some lessons you learned that maybe school didn't teach you about working there?
Mm, nice. Um, yeah, I think what you just said, the thing that like hits me the most is that everyone's like their own, like they have their own voice and they're their own in a TV show of animation. They're their own character, like very much so. Um, so I think that was like one of my earliest things I took away was like, oh my God, everyone has like their own beat that they're living their life to. And it's so unique. And like, and it is expressed through their art. And whether they're like a character designer, they do BGs, like even props, like anything. And so it's like just sort of connecting that artist to their work is like, that to me was eye opening, honestly. And like specifically because just to contextualize the Bento Box days, is I was really forever grateful of the way that I sort of started this job and entered in, which is I became the assistant to, well, so I applied to be this assistant to the supervising producer of her name is Dana Cameron, and she was on Duncanville, she was on The Prince, and like they were just starting on Krapopolis when I entered in. Um, and then like day one or something, she's like, "Yeah, I'm actually now promoted to head of production." I was like, "Oh, wait." So that I from being like an assistant to a producer to an executive assistant, essentially. But what that led to is that she oversaw everything, which was
Mm,
such like a specifically amazing place to be in. Where like I saw something come in development as a log line, as an idea, as like literally just like a relationship. Like, hey, I got these two people together. Let's make something with them to like the
wow.
end execution of like what's the marketing rollout to do San Diego Comic Con when like Krapopolis was coming out, Hazbin was coming out, and everything. Um, and so going back to the artist, specifically development, that was the coolest thing because that's where the artists are allowed to like be like really because like just go as far as they want because once you go into a show everything's you get your style bible you the rules of the show start to be put in place for an artist to like follow those rules but like
Hmm.
the development side there's no rules in the best way so like you like one of my favorite things is like you would have shows that were like led by artists and like that their style would be locked but then sometimes you would have shows come into development that were led by writers and like they don't know what it looks like they never really thought about that so then development would hire a bunch of artists to like do character design viz dev and so you have like drastically different like versions of this one character in a script and then the showrunner who's like never no artist at all is just like those eyes are good I don't like that shit like you just like freaking go back and then you get the style and I don't know that's the coolest thing to me that's the best thing
Yeah, it sounds so
yeah
similar to like you start a game and you're doing like character creation mode and you're just adjusting pieces all together. You're just like creating that template
it
and making it work.
is really and that I feel like that's a great comp because they definitely I have so many emails of notes of like can we do that but like 10% or something and you're
Always the
just like okay so
percentages,
that's
right?
it's very yeah it's very modular in that sense
Yeah.
yeah
But it's so fascinating though, like when you mentioned there's like writers working together and they're all talking about the same thing, same characters, but they all are visualizing it differently, maybe
mm-hmm.
and how that all comes together in the visual format. But regardless of it's kind of going in blind, but you know so much about that person, and regardless of the visual, like it's how interesting how it starts to dial in based of how much you know about the development from the inside of the character and how it should like
mm,
visually out portray because when I was doing caricatures for example there was like a lot of theories that we learned to help for
mm,
example there is like when you're trying to when someone's sitting down on the chair you have to really break down things about them so you can draw them within 2 or 5 minutes. And some of the traits is like materialistic traits, things like they're wearing, like Slash from Guns N' Roses with the top hat or his sunglasses, just iconic pieces, acquired things that you kind of get maybe like wrinkles or like zits or anything like that. And then like
that's so
innate,
cool
is like the things that you're born with and trying to break down all those pieces and see every single part is a part of characterization of story. like wrinkles or like the stories that you've been through in your life, and those are sometimes the things that you deserve based on how you kind of, you know, went through
Yeah,
life, and that's
you've
you get
earned
what you
it.
get. Exactly.
Yeah, it's what's the thing? I don't know what of Asian culture it's from, but like the broken glass and you put gold to like
Oh yeah,
glue it back together, and
Kintsugi.
like that in of itself. Yes, yes, that's
Yes,
yes.
Japanese culture, which is great. I love that. I mean, by the way, that is one of my favorite words for AI prompting way back. It was just such a magical word because,
Dope.
and I'm sure we're going to get into that later, but the relationship when you're doing generative AI is you it's not necessarily a one-to-one relationship with drawing because it's like a more of a written format and experience.
Mm,
Now it's like
hmm.
multimodal, you can do so many things, but you're kind of recalibrating and readapting your relationship to words and understanding the literal weight of each one. And Kintsugi, it's like something you would never really think about when you find that you're like, oh wow, like that, and applying to new phrases that sometimes don't really exist, and you just come up your own words to come up with new concepts and ideas and how that kind of unfolds. But yeah,
Yeah.
for anyone out there, Kintsugi is a great one to explore. Um, cool. So I mean. By the way, I know you worked with like Dana Cameron over there, and then you mentioned that they taught basically the greenest kid on the block to everything you do in the animation industry, right? So I'm curious
Totally.
about this. What color are you now? What would you say
Oh,
is the color that you are like, and why would it be that color?
oh, it's I love that. Um, I feel like by the end of my bento tenure, I was moving into I don't know what like if you're green, then what's like 50 years in the industry is what I don't know. Like I don't even know what that color is. Is it black? Because you go in the red, you're in the black, then you're in the green. No, green's the best. So you're green at the bottom. I don't know what the color is. Let's flip it so it's like if green is the top, black is break even, and red is you're screwed. So let's flip it. And so red is top,
Okay.
black's break even, and then green is brand new. So just to contextualize that, I had to think through that for a
Yeah,
second.
absolutely.
Um, so then I was in my position, I was red because doing that for
Hmm.
almost 5 years. You just get good at being an assistant, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, Data may see this be like he was never red. I don't even know, but I,
Well,
anyway,
guess what?
so
Dana's over here. Come on out, Dana. I'm just joking.
she's in Canada.
Yeah.
Um, what's it called? Anyway, so I think I was going in the black. Like I was on the creative executive path and everything, and it's been
Hmm.
amazing. And now I'm going actually a little bit more in the green again because I've switched mediums,
Mm.
and it's been like, which is I'm really happy that I did. Like so far, there's no regrets because
Hmm.
I feel so strongly that like we're at our Pixar moment where like Pixar was doing Tropicana commercials. They could do commercials. That's what the CG was looking like. But then we are at that Toy Story moment because we're literally like, you go to the Super Bowl last year, there were a bunch of AI ads. There was a bunch of Tropicana ads. We
Mm.
still haven't gotten that story, that one thing. And there's people in the space that are like, they're pushing. Gossip Goblin is the most well known, 100%. I have
Hmm.
my own list of creators that I love, and I will happily just list them one by one in this podcast.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that's like oh, we're gonna get there. So anyway, I'm on the green side, wanting to get back to black because once we get back to black, that means the story's out. That means like you're gonna see something that's made that's gonna be released on a streamer, hopefully our streamer, but then maybe second window onto Netflix that like isn't
Hmm.
slop. It's not what is bad about AI. It's what's good about AI. It's like what it's the same reason we're like. I mean, I don't know what people's opinions were of Toy Story when it came out, to be honest, but I know the general public's opinion, which was that was amazing. Like that's
Yeah.
why, like that's where we're at right now. So I want that. Like I'm gonna get back there if it kills me. So yeah.
Yeah, it's I love that. When we hear the term slop, it's like that was like one of the most popular words of like 2025, I think, in terms of how it was brought back again. By the way, another great generative AI word to use. Try that Kintsugi slop. Try that out. See how that works.
Oh
But
wow.
what's interesting is how I've been seeing AI slop is really just an oversaturation of people who are experiencing this tool for the first time and they're just exploring with it. And there are different levels of creators or thinkers, hobbyists who are just exploring these tools that you can see
Mm,
like the depth and the layering of how they're utilizing it for deeper storytelling to someone who's just wanted to explore and see how it goes. So sometimes when you're playing with generative AI tools or just anything for that matter, there's thresholds that you kind of go across. So the first image that you'll ever generate will be different from your 10th to your 100th to your 100,000s. And most of the time in the beginning, people tend to generate things that they're familiar with, which is like IPs, which is, Shrek, fighting Iron Man, Will Smith
hmm
eating spaghetti, and then we get into that next level of subversion that of those type of IPs, and then next to that is like coming up with your own ideas based on inspirations, and who knows what are these overarching things that I think at the top is like you mentioned, like Gossip Goblin, for example. It's like a whole world, very great curatorial eye to detail on the cup that's in the scene, that it's like specifically made for that story. And
hmm
all the
hmm
background details, it's so lived in that you just kind of subconsciously take it in, and then you kind of feel this is much more lived in. It wasn't just stopped at the first generation output. It was like so much more involved in his process for any given
hmm
scene that he does.
Wow. I actually I don't think anyone said that comp before, but I love that of just like it's a leveling up because I think of like almost like Blender. Like everybody who wanted to learn Blender did the donut. Like that's you do the donut in Blender. That's like well
Right.
known. But like I would never poo poo the donut. But like it's just a
Of
donut.
course. Right.
So, but yeah, that's it's the foundational knowledge of understanding, and then you go up. Same with like I mean, even myself, like I was when Procreate sort of really came out, I was like, I'm gonna learn Procreate. Like I'm gonna freaking like
Yes.
I've never been an artist before, but like I want to understand how this works. And I didn't really go that far because I was like, I'm not an artist at all. I'm a writer. But there's the first things I made horrendous, and then I started to understand like the tools, the shortcuts, the like you go from there. And it's interesting that you're like you've identified that, but for IP, like it's like instead of making a donut, you're making Shrek. Like that's weird, but that makes perfect sense to me. And then
Shrek
instead
is
of
the
like,
donut, right?
yeah, Shrek is the donut. Oh, that's
Yeah.
so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. It's great.
And so I think that's what's interesting, and I'm sure we're going to get more into that in terms of, this we're moving at the pace of interstellar light speed with AI. Like it used to go from years
Just
to
going boom.
yes. Okay, I have a question about that. Um, what does the word or the phrase final frontier mean to you? Final
Whoa.
frontier.
Um, the way that I always looked at it from a Star Trek standpoint is when
Mhm.
sort of like it's almost like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Is that the psychologist? I think so. Fact check me.
Yeah,
It's
well,
there's a
yeah.
hierarchy of needs that exist. There's the hierarchy of needs. I think it's Maslow.
Hmm.
And so in the Star Trek universe, there's no war, there's no issues of money, there's
Hmm.
no issues of class. Like in specifically in like the best utopian society of Star Trek, then they go to other planets and there's the issues. But like in the
Hmm.
Federation, I should say the Federation is a utopian society. So therefore, the final frontier is just discovery. Like that's the only thing that,
Mm.
and like specifically the Orville, which that's a Star Trek show. I don't care who says it's not. That is literally a Star Trek show. It's an incredible show. They explain it so well for this one character who like lives essentially in our world and has to be taught like wait there's no money like what do you mean money is power, money is class, money is what we fight for, money is comfort. And they're like no no
Hmm.
no, we don't need that. Like all we do is we just look for what makes us like makes our cup filled, or like
Yeah.
fills our Maslow hierarchy of needs and overflows that cup. Um, so that to me is the final frontier, is just being able to only go off and just look for what makes you fulfilled, essentially, which is Star Trek in the most beautiful way to me.
Interesting. That I love that because I feel that's what's going on now in terms of we are in that final frontier then, because it is about discovery at this point. You know, like
Yeah.
when everything is accessible and open, what else is there to do? You know, it's like one of the most biggest existential moments for humanity because it's, you know, AI is permeating everywhere, not just with arts, but with health and education and stuff like that.
Mm.
And it's like
Hmm.
pure exploration. And the most important thing really is, you know, the artists to kind of go in there and kind of disrupt the machine. You have to fuck things up in order to find out what's the
We
next
could curse on this
frontier.
podcast. Oh,
You could
I've been
do,
holding it back
yeah,
the whole
yeah.
time. Fuck, man.
Right.
Okay, sorry. I know you were out of the port. I heard fuck and I was like, oh, it's exciting.
Yeah, we're like, ooh, naughty. But that's the thing I find so fascinating about what we're doing is, you know, and what these bigger platforms, you know, they're just creating these tools and they're like upscaling and getting more sophisticated, but
Mm.
none of these things are defined or like finding its own way to move forward only without these artists exploring it and defining what can
Breaking
be
it.
possible. Exactly. We're breaking the
They have to.
machine.
You have to break it, rebuild it stronger. Break it, rebuild it stronger. That is like. I mean, we're producing a few things at Showrunner,
Hmm.
and I brought like a lot of like the animation pipeline to the AI, because that's the cleanest, like, for I will argue the cleanest one to one. Is
Hmm.
you start animation, you see where AI plugs in, and then it becomes the AI animation pipeline. But
Hmm.
the amount of breaking that's been going on is like in a great way, and it's these artists that are just like hit with the problem that like, oh, how do we, like, why is this like not working? What is this thing?
Right.
And they break it and they rebuild it, and through like, there's so many, it's so many interesting workarounds that we keep on discovering. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
And I, yeah,
There's no like one way to do anything at all because there's so many use case and workflows. So you got to break it before it breaks you, really, because
yeah,
otherwise you'll just be in a corner, be like, just like rocking back and forth, figuring out like how to
yeah,
get through
just,
this. Like,
yeah. Oh my God. And yeah, I think like one of my also biggest takeaways as being a creative exec in this industry is
mhm,
that everyone has a story. And I think that's something that like that's an overall opinion that I have of like any medium and any human being, is like you have a story to tell.
mhm,
AI is like it gets you there, like it gets you to that first two steps, like from embracing it to like, you know, writing it to a bit to visualizing it, like it
mhm.
gets you to that step. And so, and I yeah, that is, there's a level of final frontierness in there where like, I mean, we were talking yesterday and like you showed three shows that like you, before AI, like God, how much money would that have cost to like hire people just to like, just to start to like, just to do viz dev, like not say like final product, but just to like put it all like out there to a degree. And so now all these artists essentially get a chance to do that in this medium. And then people with that foundational knowledge and appreciation, they're the ones that are always going to make the better work versus, making a bunch of Shrek donuts. And
Mhm.
like, that's just not, like, nobody wants Shrek donuts. They want something brand new. That's
Right.
awesome. Like, that's great. So,
Well, maybe you can't be an AI artist until you do at least one Shrek video of some kind. You know, there's like a foundational course. You got to start somewhere and build from there. 'Cause
it's smart.
it
I love that comp.
and you know what? Just going to go back a little bit into this transitioning that we're talking about. You know, so you spent 4 years at Bento Box, and then one of the most adult animations of the decade. I love Bob's Burgers and all the different shows that are involved there. And when 5 months ago, when you started to join Fable, you, it's this
Mm-hmm.
transition from animation to AI. Like they're both diff. They're not genres, by the way. kind of like Brad Bird always said, he always got upset when people said like AI or
Yep. Yeah.
animation is
Yeah.
not a genre, it's like its own
I
medium.
hate the Oscars that there's an animation category. That's not how that's supposed to work. Yes, I go Brad Bird. I fully agree.
Right. But I'm just curious. I want you to just walk us into the day that you made that transition to go from Bento Box to Fable. Was it challenging for you? Like, did it feel like a natural step? Like, what was that like for you?
No, it was. I felt like I burnt every bridge I made. Essentially, like it was
Mm.
truly because like we can't like say so positive about AI without saying there's a bunch of negative too. Like I think it's just in the it's just in the conversation that we need to acknowledge it. And like
Hmm.
as things are coming out and things are like better people are touching it and making it stronger.
Hmm.
It's only getting essentially easier to say I work in AI. But like when I made that jump, it was a lot of like, oh, you went there, like oh. But I think the thing that sort of like is my North Star and will continue to be my North Star is that my biggest takeaway from my Bento Box days was that like the the thing that brought me happiness was to
Hmm.
like support an artist, like to be a tastemaker, essentially to identify like somebody that's great and then validate them essentially. And
Hmm.
like one of the best things is I was watching as we built this social media page called A Studio Digital, which is like essentially it's a creator incubator would be like the exact way of putting it. But essentially the truth is it's like two amazing people at Bento would just go out to all these artists that were students that were like or they were like not professional, go to colleges and like validate them by being like, this is cool. We'll give you X amount of money to put you like feature you on our platform where like you're gonna have a much wider reach. And that's what
Hmm.
Adult Swim Smalls does that too. It's literally the exact same program. Before that, it was Liquid Television on MTV days, like that.
Hmm.
This like thing of just like validating artists. And so anyway, the North Star to bridge me over there was that I feel like we don't really have too many tastemakers in the AI space. We have a lot of
Hmm.
creators, but we don't have too many people being like, no, look at this list of people. Like, let me bring it all together. And
Hmm.
so that was the opportunity at Showrunner that has been the best thing in the world, personally, is like, okay, great. I have a platform that I could reach out to a creator that I like, validate what they are doing, and then put
Hmm.
them on a platform to like support them more. Like that's the coolest thing. So like whether you're a 2D artist, 3D artist, AI artist, like you're an artist and you want to get validated and you want somebody to appreciate what you're doing. And like
Right.
that's been something I could do. That was the bridge for me. Because oh, I could do this here. Great.
Yeah,
So
amazing.
yeah.
And I could even see like the through line though is still like supporting that kind of part of stuff that you were always so devoted to is really just the storyteller because all of these mediums serve the purpose of being the vessel for storytelling. And like that's where we kind of get past the superficialness of just anything, whether it's like design or writing or music. Like you need to have that element of storytelling and how well you can kind of feel it, and that permeates through your skin, your bones, your blood, just gets right
Yes.
into the amygdala or whatever that is. It'd be
Yeah.
like, ooh, goosebumps, you kind of feel it through.
I love that.
Which is great.
Yeah, and it's so great. Like I will name drop my first person that we're working with, which is Well of Fables,
Cool.
which is this like everyone please check out Well of Fables. I reach out to them and we're collaborating together, and I've been like developing like a spin-off miniseries with them for like what 4 or 5 months now. But
Hmm.
by doing that, I'm just appreciating what we're doing more and more, which is it's just these two dudes who like had a freaking story to tell, have like this like I franchise world building thing that they've like always like it's like a D&D campaign on steroids in the best way.
Mm.
They're like, wow, I want to go more, I want to go bigger. And then they use this AI of it all and like define their style, define the voice, define the pacing and like the music of it all, which they make their
Mm.
own music.
Awesome.
And they're just telling stories. And so now as I get the scripts from them, I'm like, this is awesome. Like this is just pure passion. Like this is such an unlock for you guys. I love that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I believe like what makes them and Gossip Goblin just like the top five or top 10, in the world for AI artists, or just even out of that, is you when you make something that's just so undeniably good, and then
Mm.
that's what kind of makes people really take a pause, and even if they feel some antagonism towards that, they just can't help deny that it's just there's something about it. It's like, wow, this is the threshold that we're talking about, that new
It's
frontier where they just
it
feel
is
that
the
they're
Tropicana Toy Story. It's go we're going into that side and it's awesome.
yeah. And by the way, with Toy Story, and I appreciate you being so transparent about like what that bridge was like moving from Bento to AI, because even for me, like it's always been, such an existential issue moving in and just constantly questioning yourself, especially in the early ages when I don't think the height of his controversy
Mm.
ever left. It's just kind of it is what the issues are in terms of the amount of training data that's being used and how it's being utilized, and we're talking about these artists kind of disrupting these things metaphorically, at least when I see these things. I love this idea of like the latent space, and like the latent space is like this alternate dimension that would not have existed without us exploring using these generative tools. And it's basically this reflection or the simulacra of the internet that's discoverable because of generative AI, of like prompting in there.
Mm.
And it
Hmm.
feels more like typing. Now I'm in Trekkie mode because I feel like you're in a
Let's
ship.
go.
You're putting in the coordinates, you're in the ship and you're putting the coordinates and you go to that space, right?
Yeah.
You're just moving into that quadrant of this unknown infinite reality of an alternate universe, because there's so many different ways of exploring. The aesthetics are
Hmm.
like the dimensions that you go through this space, and you know, giving people this opportunity that the the one of the worst fears I feel for like any artist is, you die with like this huge universe in your mind that you can never get out because of budgeting, of being able to do this, that you're in the industry, but you're working in this particular part of it, but you're grateful to be part of the process, but you're hoping to work towards this final goal of like really showing this full passion of this big idea that you want to share to the world and stuff. And even now, with big industries, we're kind of seeing this shifting with YouTube and, this a much more direct connection to the audience, Patreon, as you probably know, with like Hazbin Hotel and stuff, and
Yeah.
kind of working towards that kind of curatorial eye of showcasing and saying, this is, with all that oversaturation, this is like the cream of the crop. This is where you're going to find the best stuff, because that's where like some of the most famous production houses like A24, like everyone knows, like they make the most like lit trailers, and then you know like
Yeah.
what an A24 film is going to be
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
and kind of reflect that down the line.
Yeah.
Uh, I
Oh,
uh
sorry.
I have a quick question for you, that I want to show you this photo, and I just want you to let me know, what does this photo mean to you here? This guy over here.
Oh, look at my friend. Um, that I'm gonna cry. Yeah. What Gumbies? I got this Gumby. I got
Okay.
Pokey right here. I got another Gumby somewhere else on my desk.
Whoa.
Um, yeah, that was my last like moment at Bento.
Mhm.
Was, oh God, I have so much to talk about for Gumby. Like that's its own thing.
We're gonna do a part two about Gumby for
I
sure.
truly, it's
But
like because it's been a journey. Because oh, how do I start this? Okay, okay. So God bless, I forget his name, but an executive at Fox gets the acquisition deal with Gumby, and so Fox owns Gumby. That's like it's on deadline. Everyone knows this. Um, and then what's it called? Bento is Fox's essentially animation division, and so we're given Gumby,
mm,
and um, we don't do kid stuff. We're an adult animation studio. Like that's
mm,
Gumby's kid, Gumby's toy. Like Gumby's like not like there's not a lot of Bob's Burgers toys out there. There's a reason why. Is because it's a different industry to do toys. You know, like even I mean, there's not that many Simpsons things anymore. There's not that many Family Guy things anymore because like I don't know
mm,
why, but like the shift's been moved a bit which also actually it's moved back because of the indie, and that's why Hazbin Hotel is now very franchisable. That's a whole other conversation.
Mm.
But anyway, I was part of like the start of that, and that was actually my place to grow. That was like, as a as an assistant, like what's that chance to get to the next step. And Gumby was and is the thing that got me to the next step, truly. Because we developed it and we like figured it out, and I was like, admittedly, I was
Hmm.
on my way to become a kids executive, which I still think it's a great thing, for the record. But the thing I want to highlight is Art Clokey, who's the creator of Gumby.
Hmm.
he he it was all of Gumby was in his garage. Like, he made Gumby essentially in like whatever place in somewhere up in California, and all of the original Gumby pieces were just in his garage, and we acquired them, and so we brought them into like a safer storage unit where we're slowly archiving it and planning it. But I was part of that. I was touching original Gumby pieces. We bring in an awesome writer, showrunner to develop it, and then we're developing it. We're looking at it from a 2D way, a 3D way. Like, what is Gumby from, like, almost like there's also an angle where Gumby's like cool, where like we use it as I mean, honestly, Pokemon would be a fair example where like there's some really cool designers that like shoe brands like made Pokemon cool, and like
Mm.
Levi like did a Pokemon like thing. So there was like that level of Gumby that we were also like thinking through, and like it's all still in the works.
Hmm.
Um, but anyway, that yeah, the last thing via deadline is that we are developing Gumby as this like new show, and it was my first chance to like really move into my dream position, honestly, and
Wow.
and I will always love Gumby. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's so awesome to hear like it's such an iconic character that's and it's still so amazing to see how these characters, through IPs and Disney or whatever, they can kind of still stand the test of time, and the universe keeps expanding about it and all the characters, and trying to see how it can be redefined in this new era that can kind of connects with, the new generation, and see how that goes.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very cool to hear about
Uh,
that background with you.
yeah, one of my favorite things we did was we did like market research. Like, that was one of the first things we did, was we
Hmm.
paid like this, like, wow, I don't know what this company was, but like they like did the craziest, like, just deep research. This is like almost before AI, or maybe they were using AI before AI was AI. But
Hmm.
like, oh my god. And then so we like find all these like demos and like how people feel about Gumby, like, and everyone
Hmm.
like loves Gumby. Like, there's no, like, nobody really did anything bad with the Gumby IP to like make us not like it.
Mm.
Like, everyone thinks of Eddie Murphy as like one of the touchstones of the Gumby because of his SNL skit. Everyone thinks Gumby is like built, or like some foundational in the Americana storytelling side of things of it all, which I think is like,
True.
and it was just so interesting seeing like these standing the test of time. And so here we are right now, and we're not even there yet. Like, Gumby is, I mean, I left. I don't work at Bento anymore, so I actually don't truly know where we're at with Gumby. But like, I know where we're gonna go. Like, which is gonna be, it's gonna come out. Like, it's gonna be somewhere, and we're gonna get Gumby again. And the same way that we sort of like re got Peanuts, and like Apple like took Peanuts and like brought it back to a new era, and it's beautiful. Um, yeah, I can't wait. I love Gumby. I was gonna get a prickle tattoo. I forgot that I wanted a prickle tattoo. There's this one shot that I found of Prickle, like, um like there's a birthday cake in front of him, but he's like sad because there's like
Yeah.
a moment he's like, and it's the funniest freaking picture. And so that's I want that tattoo so bad. Oh, I forgot that I want that.
Well, we got to do a part two. We got to come back with the newest tattoos you come after this.
uh,
Um, so it's really interesting that you bring about Gumby. And like obviously animation has a lot of clear eras involved. We have like the golden age in the 30s and 40s, silver television age, Renaissance, I would say in the late 80s and 90s. So, history does tend to repeat itself. So I'm curious, in your words, like what era of AI do you think we're actually in right now? Like mapped against this animation history? What does it tell you about what's coming next at this stage?
yeah, we're at so far the start of it, like the beginning of it. Like, we're not even close to human
Prehistoric era.
being. Yeah, like a truly, because like until my mother tells me her favorite AI TV show, we're not there yet. Like that's the truth. Like it
Got
needs to
it.
go to a normal person. Like we're tech people. Like we're in this, and we're artists. We're tech people. Like this is our space. But like once the average person like can identify an AI property, and I don't know what to say AI, a franchise that's made via the technology of AI, and like that's what they love, then we're gonna start to get to the next thing. We're definitely not. We're nowhere close to golden, like because there's not a bunch of great stuff yet. There's just
Mm.
nothing yet. Like yeah, we're prehistoric in a good way.
Yeah, I mean that's exciting that, and it's so interesting because maybe I do feel like I'm always behind with AI, and at the same time, it's like not a lot of people know so much about it yet. It hasn't completely permeated mainstream yet. That I think people in this community they tend to lose sight, or the periphery needs to be kind of recalibrated or examined in terms of like where we're at the stage, because you always feel like you're behind because the technology's moving. But with the potential is like this is probably the best time to build your IPs. You know, these big companies are looking at these artists to work on their established work and integrate it into their workflows and whatnot. And I think that's kind of like one of the most exciting things about what's happening with Showrunner and why you're trying to build those things. And I know that you've you said a great term last time we had talked the other time about narrative sandbox. And I want you to just explain to everyone, like, what does that mean to you, and how defining is that to what the next era of maybe possibly emerging into the golden era with AI, with narrative
Yeah,
sandbox.
nice. Yes, that's my proudest term. I think it's what landed me the job. Was I like pitched this whole like development current social media strategy to Ed, who's our CEO, Edward Saatchi. He's amazing. Uh, and I essentially was like, we are a narrative sandbox. Like that's what Showrunner is, because it's like it's a sandbox Minecraft logic where like you could build in like you could build it's endless opportunity, but within the style of Minecraft. Essentially, that's the sandbox is. And then what we're doing is we're building worlds in a narrative sense that just open up to everything. So like the original, like I don't know where the dots connect fully. I'm still learning it, but like I know Ed had this thing called Sim Francisco, which is still very much so a part of like our foundation of what we are at Showrunner, and
Hmm.
it's essentially like you have Exit Valley, and then it's created in the show itself is created in San Francisco, and then if somebody wants to make like another show within the San Francisco world, they can, and that to me that's the narrative sandbox. And the big like my big overall pitch and the way that I explained it to people who like are like I don't understand this is like we at the company want to make The Simpsons, which like in assets alone creates Springfield, and then a user gets an opportunity to make show about like Moe's Bar. They can make a show about Moe's Bar, and like that's this like narrative sandbox thing that we get to create, and it's not just one. We're creating like as long as a creator comes to our platform, either makes something within their platform, transfers their like pulls their project onto like another tentacle onto our platform, like that starts to create this narrative sandbox. It's just like it just explodes out essentially. Um, yeah,
I think yeah, that's fun. And even when we think about like Moe's Tavern as a show, that'd be amazing because it makes me think about how every when you probably don't people do it themselves, but you'll sometimes I'm on the subway and then I'll see someone they're putting on their shades and they're putting on music, and whatever music they're listening to, they're in that soundtrack. They're in their movie.
nice,
You know what I mean? Like
nice.
there's a guy, he's like wearing a trench coat, he's wearing that, he's like thinking he's in the Matrix, he's just like blasted and just like standing waiting to get the open door. He's like synchronizing, moving around, and it makes me think about how some characters, if you were to do like a Moe's Tavern, for example, it could be like a completely different genre to approach that character for him. You know, I think that's what Simpsons kind of did very well, where they obviously they take a lot of references and to past films to kind of formulate an episode that they're kind of going
Hmm.
across and stuff and kind of paying homage to it. And it'd be fascinating to see how people's takes on that could be. I just even remember there was a moment where someone started to subvert that whole idea of the stormtroopers. It was like this kind of vlogging videos. I'm not sure if you remember that, but someone was doing this whole series of stormtroopers vlogging about their life, working at the Death Star and stuff. And it was just such
Nice.
a great way to explore that. And you're just thinking, oh my gosh, how come I never thought of this? It was just so
Yeah.
simple. It solved the problem with consistency across and just playing it with the time of like VO was just coming out and getting
Mm.
voices to play out scenes and whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, and so like, and that was purely indie. That right? That Stormtrooper, like that was just some artist going. So
Right.
the the studio network version of that is Star Trek Lower Decks, 100%. Which is you have Star Trek, you have this live action world, you keep on building it, its world, and then out of nowhere you just get this little new style animation show that like is totally different, has its own voice. It's still in it, but it's its own unique, beautiful thing that we appreciate for what it is. Like now that thing is now in the hands of the creator to do that like in perpetuity. So like the person who made the stormtroopers now can make their own show, and somebody else can make like their own thing of that, and like it could just be these all these interconnected things that just get to grow. And the owner of the IP, it's their IP. Like that's one of my favorite things about showrunners. Like we let the artists keep the IP. Like that's not we're not trying to. That's essentially that's not our game. Like in like the worst way of saying it. Like we want users to come use the platform to build a billion narrative sandboxes. And so one of the most important things of that is like let the creator build their show, like let the creator keep their thing, and like let that be like that's the value add to a creator is that they now have a narrative sandbox by pressing play essentially.
Yeah, and
So
so another thing that you just mentioned about like creators and IP, which I feel like is severely underrated or maybe kind of still unexplored, where the most popular IPs out there in the world right now, they don't belong to the original creators. If we think about Star Wars or, you know, m most of them, like they've been owned by these big companies and they've kind of
yeah.
taken those things. And then that's where I'm seeing now because of this new era that we're coming across and getting this accessibility, letting people control those things so they have full creative control. And there's so many, the world is so big that there are these amazing sub niches of passionate people who love the same thing that you do. That it could be so weird and quirky as like black light that there are people who are just into that. They're into that aesthetics, the niche, like the weird core aspect of all those different things, and then you can make a nice pocket for yourselves and have full
Mm-hmm.
creative control to really explore. And at the same time, like you said, the contributions of the users of them figuring out that's what I love. It's like they're help building it out in some way because that the fans help define that too at a certain
Yeah,
stage. Once you lay out that the sandbox really for them to go in there.
yeah, yeah. I I love yeah. I mean, it's so interesting the idea of like the George Lucas, the Stan Lees of it all. Like they don't have their catalogs anymore.
Mm.
And yeah, we're at a place where I mean that's probably my biggest thing when I'm talking to these creators is they want to make sure that they can keep their IP because like they have an opportunity now. Like this is and it's so it's like to me, I'm happy to say yes. Like I love that and that like helps the relationships build. But like that is to be honest, that's the number one thing that anytime I talk to a creator for the first time, they're always like,
Mhm.
is this guy gonna Disney me? You know, like not that yeah, I don't want to poo-poo Disney either because Disney is king. But maybe cut that one. I don't know. But yeah, like yeah, definitely it puts it in the hands of the creator. Um, and I'm actually I don't know how much this is connected, but I'm gonna say my another one of my like my north stars and like what I want to bring to showrunner is that like it's amazing that these shows are in the hands of the creators. Like that's such a great piece of this like pendulum that swings between like big studio development to indie. Like we had the Sundance era, then we moved a little bit more into like the blockbuster era, and now we're going back
Mm,
into like indie animation era. Like there's like it's just I see that at A24 brought back to the indie. Um,
mm,
and but anyway, uh, yeah. So these creators have this show and they're building it, and it's let's take Blacklight, who I freaking love. Blacklight, that's my type of comedy, like that's my vibe. We're also collaborating with him, so I work with Will, and I love Will. He's the coolest dude ever. um but like, okay, so you have all these creators and all these little niches that are all over, they're spread out, but me as the consumer, it's
mm,
actually the worst because I don't know where to go. Like I don't know where to find my niches. Which like if you go in the like go to the 90s, go to the early 2000s, you want to find some cool like artist, you go to Adult Swim. You
mm-hmm.
go to that one channel, maybe you go to MTV, but you go to that one channel and you just get the list of the best and the coolest emerging stuff. And like that's great. So for me, my like number one goal of this company is to be a tastemaker in the sense that I want people to come to this platform that we have and see the best of the best. That's Well of Fables. That's Blacklight. That's like everybody else. Like so they know like okay, and then they could go off and then they could follow Blacklight, for example, and they could just
Right.
appreciate his cosm that he's creating, his
Yeah.
pay for his Patreon, like everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think I yeah, I love what the creator can do, and I think that's my value add to the industry that I want to find is like putting them all together. Clinker Magazine is actually, I think, also doing it really well. I love Clinker Mag. It's
Okay.
a, I think that's what they're called. They're Instagram mainly, but like for
Mm-hmm.
me, they're just curating. That's all they're doing. Is they're just showing. They're helping me find the best, and they're helping
Mm.
me find my subgenres. So yeah,
Very cool. I mean, I can't wait. I think that's going to be very exciting. I mean, there are other platforms out there that they're still kind of emerging. There's one with like Escape.ai, which is
yep. Skip
awesome.
AI.
And I mean, behind each of these platforms are like amazing founders like John Gata. You know, he was the VFX, director for The Matrix and stuff. But
Hmm.
even for Fable, every time I listen to interviews with Edward, he's just such a very thoughtful, very interesting guy. And I'm just curious, like, what's it like for you working with him? Like, what are some things that you would love people to know more about him that they might not see, like the work process, the creative process, or just anything while you're working in Showrunner?
In my opinion of Ed is that he's an artist. Like he's an artist working at a tech startup. Like he's in the Silicon Valley, you know, race, but I mean, my God, he all he does is just drop these like crazy, unique, beautiful movies as comps, and like I don't know any of them. I'm just like, wow, you are just such like an artist of a human.
Mm.
He's also very philosophical. He's one of our relationships is that he's a huge Trekkie as well, and it's so like
Okay.
I, I feel like there's a few different corners of Trekkie, but like he comes from this like philosophical utopian like questioning like everything and like seeing like just sort of looking at it from like a very like up there level. And it's just so interesting when like as I continue to work with him every second of every day, going back to the 12-hour day startup life, um,
Right.
just getting these like little moments of like him, like little pops of like why this means something to him essentially.
Hmm. Hmm.
And yeah, he's a cool guy. I think everyone should, follow him. And I'm excited for his book. He has to write a book. Like I don't know when that's gonna happen, but he'll write his book, and it's gonna be very. I want you know what it's gonna be like. It's gonna be like Parts of Known Anthony Bourdain, where it's gonna
Mm.
be about the industry that
Mm.
he works in, but it's gonna be
Mm.
philosophical at the same time. I'm gonna say it right now. That's what his book's gonna be about. Give it like 10 years, 20 years.
Yes,
Yeah,
Manifest. I think I would read that. I just find him super
yeah.
fascinating. I remember when I first got invited into like the beta of Showrunner, one of the coolest things he did was he made a Discord and with I felt like there was like hundreds of people who had joined in and he gave everybody an opportunity to do an intro to invite them and just speak. And it was like a long session, but he was like generally interested, giving the space for everyone to kind of get to know each other that way. And I just think that's such a great indication of like showing some like very amazing promises to to like a startup with like these leaders and how they're really trying to understand and cultivate the community and build these tools in such a very unique, out
Hmm.
of the box way with these tools.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean he picked me up like I don't know. He brought me into a brand new position too. I'm like not that old of a guy. I don't have like 20 years experience on me, and he brought me into this opportunity. He appreciates people. He does like he is creating a space to let people grow, and I like
mhm,
that's and I think that's a the Discord. Like he just wants to hear people like how'd you get here, like how like and that like those pieces like those puzzle pieces are foundational to him to
mhm.
build to like our what is our I don't know what Netflix has it, Google has it, but like what's our core values, things like that. So
Exactly.
it's great.
Awesome. Uh, Alex, I feel like I can talk to you forever, but before we leave, I'd love to do like an awesome speed round of a little segment I'm going to try today with you. It's
Okay,
just,
let's
I
do it.
want you to do a rapid fire of like re reactions and ratings to some animated cells I found on Sotheby's and Heritage Auction. I just want to get like, what's your initial reaction? Because I know you talked, I can see you're ready. You're pumped for
I'm
this.
pumped. I love me Savannah. I
All right. I'd
uh,
love to just get your thoughts on this. Let's start with this one over here. This is like the band concert.
oh, this is old. This is like okay. I mean, this is historic, so we're gonna go a 10 out of 10. Like
Okay, interesting.
no, I don't actually start with a 10 out of 10 too high up because I don't know where we're gonna go, but I'm gonna give like an 8 out of 10. Let's just start there because we were talking about like the feature, so, like a cell from a feature is so much more
Hmm.
important than a cell from, or
Hmm.
not. It's more rare than a cell from a TV show just because there's
Hmm.
less. This is still the less era. There's just not a lot of this out here, so it's really rare.
Right.
So 8 out of 10.
Great. Let's check out the next one here. This one.
Fantastic. 7 out of 10. God bless.
7 out of
God
10.
bless.
Would buy. I mean, that's
Would spend at least $2,000 on this.
right. But like out of all the frames to make this moment, this one is like
Yeah,
the
it's the
great.
eyes closed for me that like it makes it more sensual.
Exactly. And just the hair. That to me, that's the
Oh,
beautiful touch there.
great.
What about this one?
Oh, nice.
Signed.
It's signed too by Matt. Yeah, that's just becomes a 9 out of 10. It's signed by Matt. Matt's in it. I wonder if Matt like drew. I don't think he painted it, but 9 out of 10.
Hmm.
Beautiful.
Cool. How about this one here?
Oh God. Um, I'm gonna say a 4 out of 10 just because I don't like looking at it. I appreciate it, but I don't want to look at it
Right.
again.
By the way, that's just from Akira for people who are curious
I've
about
never seen
that.
Akira, so I'm gonna lose a lot of
Okay.
points for that. Yeah.
Okay. We'll
Now
cut it
that I
out.
know
Don't
that's
worry.
Akira. Yeah.
How about this
Okay.
one here?
6 to 7 out of 10 because you want the bike is the money of Akira. Like
Hmm.
that's the most well known thing.
Very, very iconic. How about this one
Yeah.
here?
Nice. So I'm gonna go a nice 7 out of 10. But this sells like in like okay shape. You can see that like his
Mm,
hand. You can see like there's because it's over time you separate the cells and like things get moved and ripped apart and like you can see his mouth. There's a little bit of damage there. So it's
true.
yeah. I wouldn't pay top notch for this Ash Ketchum cell.
Okay, this is interesting. So it's like you're treating it like graded cards, like a PSA 8, or
Yeah.
it's not like a
Yeah.
perfect 10.
This is no PSA 10 for sure.
All right, I'm learning. I'm learning. This is very helpful. How about this one?
Oh, 10 out of 10. That moment of the Cowboy Bebop
Mm,
to me matters a lot. So I'm gonna go 10. Is this from the movie or is this from the show? I think this is from the movie. I
could be
don't
from
know.
the
But
movie.
anyway, we love Cowboy Bebop. So 10 out of
We
10 for
do.
me.
Grace, one of the best soundtracks too, by the way.
Oh my God, yes.
How about this one from Who Framed Roger Rabbit? This is like one of the
Oh,
final
cool.
scenes.
11 out of 10 because to
Mm,
have Warner Brothers and Disney agree to put their IP next to each other was a fight of the battles of the worlds. Like that must have been so hard. And that artist, whoever did this, was like, I get to draw everyone. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say
Yeah.
11 out of 10.
Awesome. Awesome. I guess we'll end it on that. I think that's
Wait, I want to
I
do. Here's my. Oh, here's my also 11 out of 10. I have a Star Trek cell. Wait, I have to do it. I have to. How do you
unblur.
unblur? There it is.
Whoa. I'm gonna hide my face so you guys can see it, but that's awesome.
Nice. Yeah. I love
Very cool.
my Dana Cameron got this for me for a Christmas gift, which I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
I don't have an animated cell here, but this is what I can kind of show. Because it's like what's always on the other side of things. I have this Garbage Pail Kid
Nice.
package
And
over here.
I was good, not opened. It's worth. Yeah,
My
I
my
love
son,
that.
he's like, "Why did you get this? What's that about?" And then he loves collecting Pokemon cards, and then I'll find a
Yep.
place that sells Garbage Pail Kids. I'm like,
I have my the only other I just love showing my stuff too. I have
Shrek.
a first edition Shadowless red cheeked Pikachu, and it's in terrible condition. Like it went through the fight of a fight, and it's one of my prouder achievements. Anyway, we won't
Amazing.
go back and forth on our stuff. We could do that all day.
We're gonna do that next time. We'll do like a whole segment of like what's behind the camera
Oh
and
my
just
god.
showing like your favorite memorabilia because I think a lot of people are just gonna geek out on that. I'll show one
It's
final thing. One final thing.
okay,
I think you'd
please.
probably appreciate
Yes.
this. I got this for my son, but he got scared, so it's for me now. But it's this one here.
Oh, nice. Do you like put the money in?
Yeah, you put the money in there and
Yeah,
then
that's great. You know, this energy is from you ever see Monsters Inc. where Sully like comes into Boo's room and Boo just like shows Sully all of her toys? It's just
exactly.
like that's what we're doing right now to each other.
I know that's because every time I see people's back, I'm like, oh, we got so many cool things to kind of share and show.
Uh
But
I love yeah, I love
we'll have to
swag.
do it more next time for sure. But Alex, it was so awesome to talk with you. I'm so excited to have met you through Showrunner and just hear about your history and like how you're kind of helping move Showrunner forward, thinking about artists and coming from that background yourself as a storyteller. And I'm just really looking forward to see how this is going to be moving on to the golden age
Yeah.
of AI era. So just want to say
No,
thanks for your
likewise.
time.
Oh, you're I'm so happy to have started this relationship. You that's why we're reviving. It's because I feel like we have the same like foundational morals of this space is to like
Mhm.
grow and build and like which is yeah. This is the first of many conversations I think we're gonna have. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, I just want to say thanks again, Alex, and thank you everyone who's been watching. What's the last thing that we can kind of leave people? What's something you want to let them know about Showrunner or just anything that's on your mind? What's something we can leave them with?
Um I think I said it, which is everyone has a story to tell. You if use the technology right now and go further with that story because it's you can do it and it's going to make you feel better by doing that. It's going to make you feel it's going to overflow your cup with creativity. And I would urge everyone to explore that story essentially.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks again, everyone, for watching, and we'll be talking soon. So take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.